Last night, when I found out about this, after so many years of being a subscriber to Misanthropony, and yet at the same time, I ended up unsubscribing him, but then rescribing him again just so I can give him another chance. But then when I saw this, that as well, I deleted my YouTube tribute I made about him 3 years ago, and also unsubscribed to him again. Let me tell you this in case if any of you are unaware of who Misanthropony is, if you haven't seen my YouTube tribute of it before it got deleted. Misanthropony was another brony in the brony community, and as the Friendship is Magic show came to an end, I have to say that his run on YouTube is mostly mixed. I mean, I'm fully aware that he tackles different subjects, but judging of how that he takes his opinion way more seriously than others and acts like his opinion is the fact of all opinions compared to others, as well his content is mostly debatable if it's good or not. For me personally, I look past his issues most likely because I usually see him as somewhat of a different type of person who can stand out as an individual, but after witnessing this, I have come to the conclusion that Misanthropony isn't really setting an example whatsoever. In, he made a sock account. He made a sock account to threaten and blackmail Cartoonshi on Twitter. Cartoonshi is another YouTuber who makes videos. Well, he most likely does it in the same style as Marlo does when it comes to his wage videos. But in all honesty, he's not a terrible YouTuber, but I usually watch his content for his perspective on mostly the negative aspects. That's mostly what I've been doing involving Misanthropony's content since I watched him since 2016. Believe it or not, when I became a brony and started my YouTube channel back in 2016, one of the first bronies I witnessed was actually Misanthropony, most likely because of his review of Ice Age Collision Course. And all I can say is that after watching his videos involving Steven Universe, The Nostalgia Critic, The Last of Us Part 2, including Star Wars, he may been a little too far at some places, even though he's somewhat in the right, but at the same time, if you haven't known about this person on who he actually is outside of YouTube, you can instantly see his true colors of the fact that he has an autistic disability. Now, I'm not saying that as in that his autism is his huge disability, because if he knew any better, he wouldn't make a sock account to threaten someone that he's close to. And the more you think about it, I instantly think that the reason why he did all those terrible things is because he just can't be able to admit that he's wrong. Like, that's the thing. He can't even face the fact that he is wrong at some points, even though that the other people criticizing him were being gentle and a lot more respectful. Now, before any of you ask, I am fully aware that Misanthropony saved a life of a minor due to trauma, due to predatory behavior by other users. I'm fully aware that when it comes to how he saved someone else's life and trying to do a GoFundMe campaign or something in order to save someone else's life. Unfortunately, that was 3 years ago, and even though it was way more important than that, and it was way more important when he did a positive, I think that one of the reasons why that some of his closest friends don't see the issues that he caused, mainly his waging and the fact that he instantly insults people online is most likely the fact that they just don't know what he's been doing or don't even care. And believe me, Yo Convoy, who recently uploaded his stream last night where he discussed of how he cut ties with Misanthropy because he did the opposite of what he's been doing, like making an apology video involving Cartoonchi even though he demanded him not to. And it's full of proof because he uploaded it again trying to remake it, but then he took down that video again. And then Misanthropy mentions that he's gonna be taking time off of YouTube for a few weeks or so, but I'm pretty sure that what Leo Convoy said about him taking months in order to rebrand himself, and when he said rebrand himself, he actually meant it. I really got a feeling that Misanthropy's true colors have been exposed. Let me tell you, the fact that he's been blocking so many people for so many years because they have a different opinion of him, and even though that Leo Convoy doesn't care, here's the thing. Leo Convoy is a drama's person. He has a life of his own, and he is looking into most of the topics of pedophilic behavior from other people, along with the fact that they're stalking and mostly harming minors in the process. But on the other hand, if he really doesn't care about what Misanthropy does, it really sums up onto why it took him this long for him to finally cut ties with him, because Misanthropy lied to him so many times. And when it comes to Cartoonchi, in all honesty, judging the fact that he's really betrayed, I don't think that he's really on the same levels of Misanthropy, even when it comes to his wage videos. Because even though that he instantly goes over the top with his reactions and just hammering in on his wage, it really feels like that he's a good person in the real world. And believe me, people who I've known for such a long time on the internet have been playing characters online. But for me personally, I don't play as a character. It's difficult to play as a character. And when people play as a character, so physically on YouTube or anywhere else, they are just trying their hardest to entertain people, which is something I noticed involving Cartoonchi, because even though that his intentions on waging goes a little too far, he's just trying to make his videos entertainment, but also expressing his opinion. He can easily do both, and for me personally, I can only express opinions, but I can't really do entertainment whatsoever, even if I tried. And even though that Misanthropy's videos are mostly serious when it comes to his perspective, which is fine by all means considered, it doesn't really change to the fact that he takes it far too seriously by hammering that his opinion is better than everyone else. Let me tell you what I mean. When it comes to his original Star Wars Last Jedi videos, along with his recent video involving The Last Jedi that he uploaded nearly a year ago, the only differences that I've noticed from him is that he's just trying to remake himself to become a better person, but in his own way, by just trying to have a better opinion than everyone else. He revised his Last Jedi project just so that he can prove to everyone that he's better, even though that at this point The Last Jedi has become mostly a piece of history, including the rise of Skywalker. And in all honesty, the fact that it's taken him a long time to complete his project on the Rise of Skywalker, that he uploaded his first preview from May of last year, it's actually further proof that he just can't be able to handle different opinions. And the more I think about it, the only thing that he didn't include in both of his Last Jedi projects was John Williams' score, which is probably the biggest highlight in the entire film when it comes to people who despise the sequel trilogy. And no, I'm not including the Rise of Skywalker soundtrack, just the Last Jedi soundtrack. Score. Or whatever you prefer. And the fact that Misanthropony had the nerve to use a sock account to threaten people, which is cartoonshy, on Twitter, and the fact that he's using Twitter to say that it's a toxic place, and then he actually had the nerve to frame himself as a perfect person, it really proves to me that he manipulated me. Because if it wasn't from him, I would never, ever be into Steven Universe. Even after it ended. Believe it or not, I actually found Steven Universe before Misanthropony made his first preview of it uninteresting. And thanks to me watching shows like We Bear Bears, and it gave me the courage to watch Steven Universe just so I can watch his video of it at the end of September, which is after I binge watched the entire series. I was actually looking forward to it to see his perspective on everything. And believe me when I say this, his video wasn't perfect, but it was good. I really enjoyed it, regardless of the opinions he have. I can't change Misanthropony's opinions that much because I actually do agree with some of his points. Believe me, when I upload my final part of the Carniverse Anthology next month, my opinions stay strong, even though I can still see both sides of characters involving Steven and Connie. And the fact that I actually agree with Misanthropony is actually saying a lot compared to his Last Jedi videos, because I had second thoughts on The Last Jedi, and it gave me the knowledge on doing a review of The Last Jedi that I've uploaded in the beginning of 2020. And in all honesty, I deleted it. 40 minutes, and I deleted it when I thought about it and thought about my perspective a lot more than his. Because in all honesty, even though that The Last Jedi is what caused the Star Wars fanbase and the franchise to crumble into pieces, it gave me a realization that nothing can stay good forever, no matter what it is. And seeing that Misanthropony has become that thing that he completely used a sock account to harass Cartoonshi by threatening and blackmailing him, I can easily see that no one is perfect. Regardless of those different people working on a studio or franchise, no matter how long it takes until the Star Wars franchise ever rebuilds itself, like the glory days, which it will never happen, I'm starting to convince that Misanthropony just can't admit that he can't be perfect or he can't be proven to be right. He can't improve himself when it comes to his autistic personality. And believe me, I do have autism. And I still live with my parents. Misanthropony lives with his parents, most likely at the fact that he wants to rage at people. But unfortunately, the reason why I haven't got a job is because of COVID. And my mother, who is 57 years old, is preventing me to get COVID. Because believe me, I had COVID this month. And considering I managed to have the least pain of any other human being who had COVID on this planet, is actually a huge defense of what my mother can do for me. And sometimes I try to make it up to her, which is difficult to accomplish. But the fact that I have to stay at home, and I'm also in the position that I can't be able to write or do any more videos when it comes to stacking up my schedules for in the future, is the fact that I'm burned out. And while Misanthropony isn't like me when it comes to how he wants to make his YouTube content a lot more difficult compared to others, it's also further proof that he just can't be able to get over the fact that he harassed someone that he was close to. This was the same person who stand up for him when Robert stalked him 2 months ago. And the fact that he instantly think that him making a sock account and completely harass Cartoon Shi is further proof that he can't be able to control himself. I know some people are going to say that Misanthropy isn't a terrible person, and the fact that his opinions are mostly his perspective, and the fact that what Leo Convoy said about him insulting other people is mostly his way of saying, get used to it because you can't change my mind. It would have been one thing if Misanthropony would just only do that kind of stuff to anyone who insults him. But at the same time, if you haven't looked at people like Andrew Clark or any of the other people that he harassed, even if you may experience something that you just realized from him, it's further proof that you only know about them because of Misanthropony. And let me tell you, I've seen so many videos involving people making Misanthropony videos. Mostly the real Thomas, who in my opinion is still a good person, and the fact that Misanthropony still insults him after making 5 videos, even though that he wasn't intentionally trying to have everyone attack him, he's just trying to express his opinion, along with commentaries involving his videos of the Nostalgia Critic, which in all honesty, they have aged a lot more poorly by time, which is further proof that after his video on Nostalgia Critic Sailor Moon video, he's officially done with the Nostalgia Critic. And when it comes to his Cuties video, it's literally the closest that we can agree with on him, because it really felt like a long time coming that he wanted to make a video. Well, a movie about pedophilia is honestly grotesque. And trust me when I say this, I am fully aware that Andrew Clark did make a tweet involving Cuties and the fact that people can like it with non-pedophilic reasons. I need to make one thing clear. I don't even think that for anyone who mentions something about Cuties and trying to make something positive about Cuties by saying non-pedophilic behavior, I want to point out that some of those people may be autistic. Who knows? Sometimes it's difficult to think of what other people think, and it's really difficult to see how people will react to when you only know about their hatred towards pedophilia. And for me personally, I cannot go anger towards pedophilia, because when I made videos involving people doing those type of stuff, it was mostly me just trying to give out a warning to people, mostly my subscribers, who haven't got the message. And in all honesty, I really feel like that the more I know about those people, they're a lot more innocent compared to Misanthropony. Because in all honesty, what Misanthropony did, no one will probably do the same thing as what he's done. Because I don't even think that anyone would even bother to make an sock account to threaten or harass people, because it would probably bite you in the rear in the future, and that's what ended up happening with Misanthropony when Cartoon Shi couldn't take it anymore. And the fact that he has been dealing with so much turmoil and depression due to Misanthropony's attacks towards him, I just really feel really devastated with Cartoon Shi, because he doesn't deserve it. This is the same person who made Steven Universe videos while he didn't like Steven Universe's future and he completely bashed on it. And the fact that Misanthropony didn't bash on Steven Universe's future, where he's trying to be a bit civil in his video, and then when he still had the nerve to insult people who enjoy Steven Universe, I don't even think that Cartoonshi will probably do something like that. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm 100% correct, but on the other hand, I really feel like that Cartoonshi wouldn't go this far by making a sock account and threatening other people for having a different opinion. Because in all honesty, the more I think about it, Cartoonshi really proves that he can be a much more better person because he doesn't live in America. He lives somewhere in the British area from England or something. I don't know. I'm not being racist or anything. I'm just wondering of what his life is like by being a British guy. And when it comes to Misanthropony, not only the fact that it took him long enough to get more subscribers, which when it comes to the route he's taken, it's a difficult task, but on the other hand, the fact that he's willing to take matters into his own hands, it really proves to me that his videos on The Last of Us Part 2, along with others, and the fact that he completely demonized corporate companies just so that he can be the better person compared to the others, it really sums up onto why people have been making videos revolving around him, like Blaze the movie fan or the movie critic or whatever. And even though that he had a disability of not raising his voice, I can actually agree with him because he has autism too. And when people have autism, it's difficult to control or have the ability to improve. And believe me, it's difficult to express what you're feeling when you have autism. And when I've tried to make a stand for myself whenever I have autism and trying to correct my mistakes by being 100% accurate, even though that I can't be able to prove it by making so many blogs about what I'm expressing at the moment, then people will probably either not see the other side of me or probably not be able to look into how I'm feeling and the fact that their rage and their critiques, no matter if they're supposed to be for criticism, can go a little too far. And believe me when I say this, is that the less I know about people with different autism disabilities is for the better, because of the fact that Misanthropony's true colors have been exposed, and I'm not gonna be willing to attack anyone or insult anyone or blackmail anyone if they do something crucial to me. And believe me when I say this, is that if someone was walking with me and then they completely disassociate with me because of something that I didn't realize, that is where I'm not gonna learn from my mistakes. Because believe me when I say this, that is where the drama is starting to increase. You can't really express of what I've been doing or what Misanthropony is doing or what anyone else is doing for the sake of how they just probably think way over their head and just instantly go push further of what they want to do best for themselves. Granted, I'm not like those people like Misanthropony or Blaze or anyone, but I still have autism, and the goal that I have at the moment is to never blackmail or threaten anyone or insult anyone if they're completely honest with me and respectful. I understand that the internet isn't for a place for everyone to be a nice person and stuff like that, but on the other hand, if I'm really this close to misanthropy after all these years, and this is what he ends up doing, then I'm pretty sure that there was no redemption. He really doesn't deserve redemption. Because in all honesty, it's difficult to see him being in this position where he just wants to be in the white. He wants to be in the white. And then when he's about to make a video regarding of his haters or people critiquing him, he's going to twist something in order to instantly manipulate anyone. And believe me when I say this, I don't manipulate people. I never do. What I said about me and the fact that I've expressed myself on doing some terrible things, those terrible things are nothing compared to what Misanthropy has done. I don't usually insult people, and whenever I do it, it's mostly unintentionally. Because believe me, I've experienced so many unstable and people who instantly flip out for nearly everything, and then when they just don't even understand who I actually was and not getting the bigger picture of the fact that they're just going a little too far and the fact that they're not being civil about it, is well, I officially draw a line and not taking the words seriously. Because they enforced them. And believe me, do you really think that Cartoonshi isn't forcing you to despise Steven Universe's future if you're a fan of it? And when you could really see him mostly make fun of the Loud House fandom by shipping people who are mostly into incest stuff, it's mostly his perspective, and at the same time, he wasn't really telling people to go after those people. So don't even ask me that he's a terrible person, because he does have some standards. He has limitations, and I feel like that his videos, despite the fact that he's avoiding copyright, unlike Misanthropy, is a lot more better compared to Misanthropy, because at this point, I've been watching Misanthropy for such a long time, and I've subscribed to him again after unsubscribing him, and then when I unsubscribe to him again, there are other videos I would rather watch involving topics of The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, The Last of Us Part 2, anything. And to be quite honest, the YouTuber tribute that I made involving him was mostly centering around his My Little Pony reviews. Nothing more. And to be honest with you, since I'm not really into My Little Pony like I used to, since I became a Pony back in 2016, I really do not need to rely on the same people for so many years. Because at this point, whenever something bad happens, in the fact that they're trying to say that I put myself into this position, even though that there was more to the story, then I can't take the enforcement drama seriously, or the waging critiques seriously at the fact that they just don't even understand what I mean by being civilized. Sometimes being uncivilized is really easy to do if you don't want to be friends or just accepting other people's opinions when it comes to being your own person. But what Misanthropy did in this case, he just really exposed his true colors. And in all honesty, I really feel like that the more I looked up to him, the more I'm gonna be becoming him. But by not making a sock account, but being what his content is mostly about. So, there was a reason why I didn't upload my final video for this month, and I'm gonna be saving it for tomorrow. And when it comes to Misanthropy, I'm officially done with you. I mean, your videos, some of them are good from my perspective, but after witnessing this, I'm pretty sure that you can't be able to prove to everyone that you can change, because if there's one thing that I can take, if there's one thing you can take if you ever watch this video, don't even manipulate anyone, or don't even bother to enforce your opinion to be better than others. You can still make your style of videos, but even when it comes to culture wars, don't even bother starting it. Because in all honesty, that's literally the only thing that you're mostly known of, and that's why it's overshadowing your positives. It really sums up onto why people are instantly saying that you're the next Louis Orchard. And even though that you're nowhere near as Toon Critic Y2K, you still need to prove yourself that you're the better person. This is why the Will Thomas made videos about you that he told you multiple times that prove yourself to be the better person. Tell me, how is that an insult to you? What made you think that the Will Thomas think that all the videos that he made about you was considered copyright? It isn't. Especially that you use the videos and screenshots involving other media. So don't act like you're not stealing from anyone at all. When it comes to your subscribers, they may look into you similar to what Star Giant Productions subscribers see into her, but please, you really, really need to think more about what you've done and trying to be a better person. Because as far as I'm concerned, your friendship with Leo Convoy and Cartoonshi, I don't think it's ever going to come back. Because of how you hammer in, it's because of how that you make a sock account and threaten and blackmail Cartoonshi. And believe me when I say this, when Robert stalked you, you have every right to put your foot down. Because he did something that it was really unacceptable. But 2 months later, when you make a sock account, I don't even think that I would ever take you seriously because you can't be able to make up your mind. If you're still working on the Rise of Skywalker video, especially with these events, my recommendation is just remake it from scratch. I mean, if you're willing to beat up a dead horse, even if it's done to death, then go right ahead. Because in all honesty, the fact that you're still going to cause culture wars, not to mention the fact that you're just going to cause a lot more hate for the sake of just gaining some kind of attention, I don't think it's really the right way to go out. Regardless if my opinions on The Rise of Skywalker has changed over the last 2 years since I watched it in theaters before the pandemic hit, I really feel like that as of now, the sequel trilogy doesn't really matter anymore, regardless if you're still going to be a dead horse. If you really want to prove yourself that you're the better person and say that The Rise of Skywalker is officially the franchise killer, which I can't really change anyone else's opinions on that, then understand this. There are different elements to enjoy involving any other media that you despise. I got The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, and when I got into Part 2, I enjoyed the gameplay, along with the music. Tell me that you not playing The Last of Us Part 2 makes any difference when you look at the story. I can understand that people care about the story more than the gameplay, since that the gameplay is mostly attached to the storytelling, but in all honesty, I never watched all the cutscenes of The Last of Us Part 2 other than the fact that I watched your video of it in November of 2020. And at the same time, I do agree with your points, because at times, you are mostly civilized when you're trying to be calm when you're making your Last of Us Part 2 video. Your tone of voice was fine. And when it comes to how your first project involving The Last of Us and in The Last Jedi was actually that got me hooked into the issues of The Last Jedi, which was in 2019 before I watched The Rise of Skywalker, you gave me motivation. And believe me when I say this, if it wasn't with you, I won't be able to improve myself by looking at other videos. And believe me, you can do great things. And the only reason why people are not looking into those things is because the negatives that you've caused was far more difficult to overlook at the positives. And believe me, when I witnessed the wall involving the nostalgia critic, I gave up on the nostalgia critic. And I was hoping that you would make a video centering around his wall video, but unfortunately, it's been 2 years. And Doug Walker has come out that he was being somewhat honest, and it was actually civil with the backlash. Because he isn't the type of person that instantly looks at media the same way you do. And even though that the change the channel document shows the true colors of Channel Awesome, there were people, mostly the Will Thomas, saw the positives involving Dog Walker. And believe me, if I ever met Dog Walker in real life, I still look at him as probably one of my favorite YouTubers when I was watching his content in the early 2010s. And even though that people will never change your opinion on Nostalgia Critic, you do not need to make videos about him, because I know full well that there was a video involving criticizing or not when it comes to his video involving Teen Titans Go and the original. Well, he completely expresses that if you hate so much, then why criticize it? Just move on with your life. I have never forgotten about that video because I've watched it before you deleted it or privatized it. This is the hint where when you're starting to show that you can't handle having opinions being critical towards you. And in all honesty, this is honestly one of the biggest reasons onto why people, mostly your haters, just can't take your perspective seriously. There were other people, mainly Animat, others who have grudges against studios. And even though that they went too far with a few places, they improved over time. Don't believe me? Then watch Animat's review of Hotel Transylvania Transformania. Believe it or not, he did a good retrospective on the Hotel Transylvania franchise. Since that he watched the first three before getting into the fourth. And he even mentions that Sony Pictures Animation has become a different studio entirely, thanks to the Mitchells, Spider-Man, and VO, if I did pronounce that movie right. If you hold a grudge onto something for far too long and you can't get over it, it really proves to me that your opinions are just difficult to be taken seriously. I mean, the fact that you enforce people to respect your opinions, and even though that your Cuties video was on point, and the fact that you instantly made a video involving Black Critic Guy after so many years, after the many years that you enjoy his content maliciously or whatever, when it comes to most of the videos that he makes, I really feel like that you only made that video just so that you can talk about Cuties. Not as in enjoying it. I meant just expressing your hatred involving Cuties. And I have nothing against you despising Cuties because I do not like Cuties, but after witnessing this, along with the fact that Cartoonchi is dealing with depression at the moment and he doesn't want to deal with you anymore, I don't even think that what you're gonna do involving your compact, if you ever come back this year, I don't think that you're ever going to prove yourself to be a better person. Believe me, if you think that you're better than me by just staying on Twitter and just making tweaks on other people, even though that I'm in a position where I can't be able to get a job because my mother is protecting me, then I'm really better than you because, like I said, I'm having a difficult time making videos because I'm mostly getting burned out of it, and this pandemic, regardless if it's slowly getting better, is really giving me a massive headache and is just giving me a difficult time to motivate off of the stuff that I enjoy because I had all the free time that I ever received since the pandemic started, and then when 2021 came along, as well, I'm officially burned out. Well, at the end of 2021, that is. There was a reason why my life, even as an autistic person, is a lot more different than yours. Because I try to be civil and try to prove myself to be the better person while doing my hardest to prove to anyone, including my parents, that what they see, regardless if it's bad or anything, they just don't even understand of how I'm using it. And when I'm using it is mostly the fact that I do not insult people or just trying to trigger anyone, even if it was supposed to be intentional or not. People do a lot of crazy stuff on the internet, which is why I do not take anything seriously completely, unless if it's a person harming an individual. But what have you done is basically what anyone would do when it comes to predators stalking minors. And granted, you aren't a pedophile, but the fact that you threaten and blackmail Cartoonchi, that is where you have become the person that no other person should be. The only thing that you did is threaten and blackmail someone. You didn't send anything inappropriate to a minor, which is why nobody's calling you a pedophile. And the people who are making fun of you when it comes to your opinions involving cuties, it's most likely the fact that it's due to your wage. And believe me, people have different personalities that they instantly go off to do different things or just do things for their own benefit, even though that they're trying to control themselves into the real world. But in all honesty, even though that your life is private compared to other lives on the internet, keep this in mind. You need to prove yourself to be the better person, since that you're portraying yourself as an actual person on the internet. Granted, you did some entertainment from your audio videos, but nowadays, even if you've done some jokes and poke fun off of people like Kathleen Kennedy, Ryan Johnson, and J.J. Abrams, Neil Druckmann, just to name a few, I also see that you're becoming one of those people. Not when it comes to corporate stuff, but most likely at the fact that they lie and completely just try to manipulate the system. You're becoming those things. And every time I see people be those things, I can't take them seriously. Which is why I end up cutting ties with them, because they just can't get over the fact that their opinion isn't the only thing that matters. Since that other opinions do matter if they mean something. And I try to mean something, and then when people instantly don't agree with me, they just don't even understand how that the what they're doing by completely bashing on me and waging on me, regardless of the material that they despise, you don't even understand how different it is when someone else does something that they look differently compared to you. I know that you're probably going to be confused about this if you ever find out about it, but I want to make this clear that everyone can't be perfect. Because if that was the case, our world would probably be completely boring. We won't be able to experience anything. We won't be able to experience something that we want. And regardless if you say that what happens in reality involving the scenes involving the ship crashing into Star Destroyers in The Last Jedi, along with the pink diamond revealed, among others, I'm pretty sure that you're probably one of those people who will probably think that what you think does make things a lot more differently, but it isn't. But at the same time, I try to prove to people that what I've done is mostly keeping it away from people who can't be able to handle it. If you really think that you just trying to protect minors because you save someone due to being harassed and being stalked when it comes to pedophilic behavior, think it doesn't really make you a completely good person, because you need to keep that reputation by being a better person whenever you see someone being stalked or attacked when it comes to being exposed to inappropriate material, or the fact that or the fact that you just despise something that wasn't intentionally harming anyone, as in fictional. And regardless if The Last Jedi is taking place in a realistic fiction world, I don't even think that it's really worth to let your hatred be on to people. Not to mention that you completely have a massive hatred towards Ryan Johnson, because he completely changed everything, and the fact that the studio itself didn't have an actual plan. I do agree with you that the fact that there should have been a plan. And at times, I really feel like that the more I learn about you, the more I looked up to you, the more I might make the same mistakes as you've done, which is why I ended up trying to be myself after being on the internet for nearly 6 years. If you really think that you're ever going to come back from this, then you really need to have some therapy or something, because you really need it. You really need to have a normal civil conversation with your parents. You really need to think about what you express when it comes to your personality and perspective. Not to mention that if you're ever going to apologize to Cartoon Shi, then actually mean it. Because in all honesty, even if he's never going to accept you as a friend, but if there's a possibility that he will, then keep this in mind. You'll probably see him as a much more different person the more you meet him in the real world, if you're ever going to meet him in the real world. In all honesty, this internet drama and just enforcing internet drama is becoming done to death. And it's most likely from you. And if that's literally the only thing that you have involving your content, then I don't even know if you're gonna be able to continue your YouTube channel, because I don't think that there's really anything to talk about other than your project involving the Rise of Skywalker. As far as I'm concerned, you're becoming a dead horse when you completely beat down dead horses in the past. And if you won't be able to take anything into consideration even after 50 minutes, then you don't even understand what I'm feeling. And when you completely have people like Lil Convoy raged on you, and you just instantly go against his wishes and just instantly do things your way, you clearly don't even understand how far you have gone. You brought this on yourself, and you just can't be able to admit it.